A southpaw is unbeatable if they got good footwork. If you think about Manny Pacquiao making moves around the ring, staying in the fight, looking dynamic in the fight, the only reason that is because of his footwork. And his footwork came from a boxing lineage, like Eddie Futch, these guys who have the universities, the institutes of higher learning is the reason why people like Manny Pacquiao get the benefit from it at the age of 46. But footwork, when you have footwork, you don't operate from boxing with your hands because the rules of boxing is you don't box with your hands, you box with your feet, and your feet are the precipice of what'll happen in that fight, and you dictate it. And when Manny Pacquiao or I'll go to Usyk, whenever they throw a punch, their feet are under them. I watch guys throw punches, and before the punch even gets there, their chin is already leaning over their front toe. And then they wonder why they got chin checked with a check left hook and woke up in the locker room. And that is so bewildering to me when I have these coaches who come in front of us on our page or maybe even at a gym. No one really does it in front of me face to face. But they talk about how good they are. And the worst coach is a coach that says how good he is because coaching isn't about you. Coaching is about what they are getting. You are the servant if you are a coach. That's just like a janitor saying, "Oh, I'm so great. I wash floors so good." And all people do is walk on them. So, really, who cares? So, the minute a person comes out of their mouth talking about they're great at doing something like that, and I used to do it, and it lets me know how far back I was when I was that way because it just feels good. The honest truth is, it just feels good to be good at something. But when you're a southpaw and you are boxing and your skills are predicated on what you know about that periodic table, when Manny Pacquiao fought Keith Thurman had never been taken advantage of in the ring like that because he never had someone in the ring with him that had better footwork. Sean Porter didn't have better footwork. Danny Garcia didn't have better footwork. Danny Garcia definitely got good footwork though, but he doesn't have the footwork like Keith Thurman relies on footwork. Danny Garcia was a person who had it. He understood how to use and set up his power, and he threw power in combinations. Keith, one time, Thurman had to set up one punch, so he had to move more because that one punch was not always available. He had to move until he could get it available. And that's why when I say footwork, here's the thing that you got to know about footwork. When you got good footwork, you see, you understand several things. Number one is balance. Your balance is just totally in control. It's in what we call a box. Like your legs are shoulder width apart at widest. And from there, everything you throw is within that box. So when you throw a straight punch, you never allow your chin to go over your toe. And this is something that I want to share with the guys who are wanting to really learn boxing because that's what the hell I'm here for, to teach you boxing. Because I've been in this thing for 4 decades and I've been a fan of it since I came out of my mama's stomach. So there's that. When you can box, you know that ring. You got the magic inside your body. And if you've seen the videos that we put out there that's turned up to tier three, you've seen that those guys that we're working with, they literally have the magic in their body. That's what it feels like when you got the footwork master. You got the master for footwork in your body. When you're going up against a conventional fighter, when you're a southpaw and you have good footwork. Zab Judah had great footwork. The only thing Zab did in his career, and Zab was absolutely the most electric. I don't know if Pacquiao is more electric than Zab Judah. He's more thunderous, consistent punching and high volume, but throwing 3, 4 shots. I don't know if it's anyone more dynamic, but what Zab got caught up in is throwing hard punches. See, Manny Pacquiao throws short 4-inch snapping punches. And that's how you have to punch. And that's all footwork. Okay. Now, Pacquiao does this thing that you call the bunny hop, which is predicated and basically brought to birth by the great late Archie the old mongoose Moore, who literally isn't late anymore because his spirit is in every ounce of boxing. When you watch him throw combinations off of the bunny hop, see what you're paying attention to is when he's over that thing and you think he's gonna stay in place and he does the stutter step. And if you haven't watched the stutter step video that I did on Friday before the fight, you need to go check it out on the page. But the stutter step is to get you to faint. I mean, when he faints and jabs the stutter step, because it's like a jab, boom, and he flutters back. And when he reels it back in, what that does is allow you to, or it causes you to release. Okay. So he makes you tense and then you release. And that's a natural reaction from a human being. When a human being tenses up, their next natural reaction is to release. So the stutter step makes you tense up. And then when you release, he's back in there and he's on it with a bunny hop. And it's usually a 2-1-2 and your pretty days. And then he, what we call, spins out, and that's the hat trick. He vanishes. You seen that move, and that is what we call pulling the rabbit out of the hat trick. When you don't understand footwork, it's so much more difficult to box. And when it's difficult to box, anytime you box someone who understands the boxing ring, guys like Sugar Shane Mosley understood the boxing ring, right? When you got Bernard Hopkins, he understood the boxing ring. The real masters were James Toney and Bernard Hopkins, Floyd Mayweather, Willie Pep, Sugar Ray Robinson, Ray Leonard, people who survived by knowing the boxing ring. Carl Froch was really good inside of the boxing ring. You know, Joe Calzaghe understood the boxing ring, and I wanted to make sure that I reached out and connected with my European fighters because a lot of those guys don't get the credit that they deserve, but they have masterful footwork because their teachers taught them footwork. Because one of the things that I say about fighters is the worst thing you can be is athletic because y'all are the laziest suckers in the world because you try to get away with just being athletic instead of actually learning. That's why when you see a fighter come into boxing, the hardest worker will always supersede the guy before it's all said and done because that guy will eventually catch up because of his persistence. When the guy's so athletic, he can get away with it and he can hide his flaws with his athleticism. When you hide your flaws with your athleticism, the only thing that's going to happen is you're going to run into Floyd Mayweather. You're going to run into someone like Manny Pacquiao who's going to turn and open up the door. Someone like Alexander Usyk. They're going to crack the code and make you turn and off your pivot. And then you're going to be leaning over your punches. And they're just going to be clapping you, just like Dubois versus Usyk 2. He opened up the can, he hit him up with the hat trick, and then he literally knocked him out in 5 rounds. This is the difference between someone who understands footwork, and then I'm going to show you what a footwork process looks like. And especially if you're a southpaw, man, you better understand knowing the periodic table. And the periodic table is there are 4 corners in a ring, okay? And every ounce of that ring should be broken down in square footage. And every square foot of the boxing ring, you must know every square foot and how to stand in every single one of those areas of the ring. So when you're in the corner, you have to understand pointing west, pointing north, pointing east. And if you back into the corner and you on the south point, then you have to point that toe south paw. That's what people don't understand the terminology of what southpaw is. And if you understand that, that's one of the tougher places to be in the ring. And then in the training, what you have to do then is you have to think about how to get this guy into a place where he's comfortable, not just doing the drill, but under pressure, under duress. When a guy's under duress inside of the boxing ring and punches are coming at him and the punches start touching him in places that don't feel comfortable, that's when you're going to find that the guy has holes in his game. And when he got holes in his game, the guy who's throwing the punches at him understands that and he's going to take advantage of that. And that's when he's going to gain more confidence because boxing isn't about physicality. Boxing is 85% mental. And the person who triggers it, their mentality, will be the one who gets the confidence to start reigning supreme. You've seen a fight turn on a dime. When Sugar Ray Leonard versus Thomas Hearns, when Angelo Dundee looked at Sugar Ray Leonard and said, "Kid, you're blowing it." And Sugar Ray Leonard, remembering all of those rounds that he jumped with that jump rope, standing next to his son in that 7-Up commercial, hitting that speed bag and doing those Sugar Ray Robinson slip steps, all of that good work came back up when he got those miles in Baltimore, Maryland, running 5 miles in the cold and rain. He remembered that stuff when he was under duress and that pain that Tommy Hearn was bringing. And that's when you saw that 14th round, Sugar Ray Leonard threw a hurdle at him, a kamikaze, knocked him through the ropes. Man, you gotta understand that that's not just boxing. That's 85% mental, and he knows when to lock it in. That's how you understand that boxing isn't about physical. You just have to understand the principles of boxing, and that's you don't box with your hands, you box with your feet. That's the exact same reason I told you guys in my video, and it's gone up 1,000 different times. Tank Gervonta does not box with his hands. He boxed with his feet. That's why he didn't get a knockout against Lamont Roach, because he thought he got knockouts with his hands. Those are just the tools that land on the opposition, but the knockout comes from the angles and where he's postured himself inside of the boxing ring. But when he's inside of that boxing ring, he's going lateral. He's figuring out, I can't feel comfortable in this corner. But tomorrow, you suckers are going to get an opportunity to see how you fight inside of a corner comfortably, like James Toney, like Bernard Hopkins, like Archie Moore, like Sugar Ray Robinson knocked people out going backwards. Was it Carmen Basilio walking into that smoke? Floyd Mayweather, Ricky Hatton, walking backwards in the corner, check left hook, hook right, good night. That kind of stuff. Like, you're not just in the corner, you comfortable in the corner. That is all about learning textbook boxing. There's nothing else to it, because what happens is your body gains a certain level of confidence whenever you're in a position that you've gone through 600 million trillion and 37,000 times on Sunday. You don't even have to mention Monday, because you understand, you put the work in, you've embedded it into your muscle memory, and then you understand how to key and lock it into your neural passage. That's all about process. The greatest fighters come from the downlines of Emmanuel Stewart, Eddie Futch, George Benton, Archie Moore. See, George Benton and those guys, they from the downline. Archie Moore, Tommy Brooks, George Benton, and all of these guys, or George Benton, Tommy Brooks, they all from my coach's downline. And his above was Kenny Adams, then him, then me, then your ass. See, that's downline. Only champions are being made from those universities because those are institutes of higher learning. They understand boxing isn't just about fucking, excuse my French, boxing isn't about just skills. You got to understand their judges and their commissions and their rules and their things that you have to understand about sanctioning bodies, and you have to implement that into your type of training. And then you have to know that there are 3 layers of training a human being in boxing. First, muscle memory. That's what you guys hang your hat on. That's all you know. You don't understand that there are other things in boxing that you have to know when you do a box step, when you do a step around pivot, when you bob and then you weave and then you catch and ricochet or punch off of your shoulder. These are just the front layers of a skill. The next thing you have to know after that is how to get it into your mindset that you can do this under any circumstance, no matter how quick the guy is, no matter how strong the guy is. You can have the belief system because it's all about belief system. Do you believe that shit? You got in the ring, Daniel Dubois, he thought he believed it. But go look at his eyes in the 5th round. You can see that belief system vanish. You get it? Because a person can make you stop believing it. And that's why when you look at a person in the stare off, Crawford versus Canelo, you look at the stare off. Go look at the stare off